But then when the zombies all start coming in and like the Karen gets bit, the mom chases the kid upstairs. The dad beats off a few of them.
He does
He's
what?
yeah. Yeah, he's like, I don't know, maybe this is the way to defeat this virus. Maybe that's why they have all this
Come
pent up
on, get
rage.
out of here! Oh.
I finally
Watched.
I finally
Watched. I
finally
watched. I
finally
watched.
I finally
Watched.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of I Finally Watched. I'm Milan.
And this is David, and today we finally watched 28 Weeks Later.
So, I really thought, and don't ask me why I thought this, but I thought this was like a throwaway sequel. Like, I was like, oh, 28 Days was so big, and then they just like cash cowed the sequel. Because I've heard tons of people talk about 28 Days. I don't hear people talk about 28 Weeks Later until recently, where like it's all over Twitter, and it's just the opening scene, mostly where he's like running away from the house, and the wife is like tapping on the window, and but there was no like, oh, this is from 28 Weeks Later. It was just like, is this the best opening to a horror movie ever? Like, you know, that bullshit social media shit. And
Right.
and I was like, okay, so that's everywhere now. And people are like, yes, the best opening. I'm like, why am I only hearing it about this year? Like, if I really thought up till today, I really thought that 28 Weeks Later was like a straight to DVD, like to cash in. I basically thought it was Speed 2.
But Speed 2 was, I mean, it actually probably is kind of like Speed 2, except maybe the reception's better than Speed 2. Well, obviously it is if you just look at the ratings. But let's do it again. Bigger budget, kind of a related storyline.
Yeah,
And
but it's like it's good.
it is. It's very good. I do think some of the problems with it, some of the probably the really big fans of 28 Weeks Later would point to a lot of the people act very illogically in this.
Oh my god, I texted you while I was watching this, right? Did you get my text? I was like, this is making me angry. The more I watch this, the angrier I get. This was 100% preventable.
Well, I mean, it's mostly the American military completely fucked this thing up with kind of one really key decision, which is like a couple. One, why does the husband have a key card that
Thank you.
accesses
Thank you.
that makes no sense.
Thank you.
It makes no sense. There's no way you can tell me it makes sense. Like there is a line in the beginning, it's like, oh, I have the key to the city or whatever, but it's like he should have the key to that building, not the entire city.
Also, didn't like the room itself didn't feel that secure?
That she was in.
Yeah.
And well, he just walked by, I guess, what should have been security people. So I don't know how he made that happen. And then the other thing is, you're like, all right, let's hide all these humans so they can't get turned. But then there's just going to be a huge ass access door on the other side that we don't even like. Did we lock it? I don't know, but like no one's over there blocking that door.
You're talking about when they're like bottlenecking everyone in the basement?
Yeah, there's just like there's just another entrance. What the fuck was that? It makes no sense.
I had no idea Jeremy Renner was in this movie.
It's pretty much like in prep for his role in Hurt Locker,
In-
like the next year.
I was gonna say Avengers because he's Hawkeye, sniper rifle, something like that, sharpshooter. Also, what's really funny is that I've been watching the Marvel movies again with my son. Not that he understands anything going on.
So
So
you're
I
watching you're choosing to watch the Marvel movies.
yeah, really just the Captain America line because I think that's like one of the best trilogies. But I just watched a movie. I just watched Endgame with him in it, and it was like surreal because I literally finished it earlier that day. I went to turn on 28 Weeks Later, and then there he was again. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, I mean it is. I don't know. It's a nice surprise. I guess I've known that for a long time because I just
Oh,
kind of
okay.
specifically after we did 28 Days Later. I think I just looked at the IMDb and was like, oh, Rose Byrne and Jeremy Renner, and then Robert Carlyle. Like, obviously, let's get some bigger people in this.
What do you know, Robert? Oh yeah, because Killian Murphy is small time.
I mean, but he's it,
Probably
right?
back
There's
then he was. Probably back then he was.
Christopher Eccleston. I don't know how to say that name. Um,
What do you know Robert Carlyle from?
the Full Monty, Train Spotting 2, Formula 51. At this point, like this is like he was actually a pretty big actor coming off of, I guess like he had a little bit of a run, and then this was maybe towards the tail end of like stuff that I would see him in. But that late mid to late 90s, early 2000s, he was in quite a bit of things that you would see. You watched Train you haven't watched Train Spotting yet.
No, I have it though. The Criterion.
Drop
Oh yeah. I was watching him and I was like, this guy looks so familiar. And I'm looking at him and I was like, he plays a swarmy guy. And I'm trying to think, like, what have I seen him in where he plays a swarmy guy? And it was that show Once Upon a Time
Okay.
on like ABC, and he plays Rumpelstiltskin.
Okay. That's
Yeah,
yeah. I'm
that's
sure
what I know him from.
that's what he wants to be known for. The other thing is I want to get to really quick is when I was looking up, first of all, the woman that plays the mom, Alice. This is the third movie we've done of hers.
Braveheart.
Braveheart and Spy
I
Game.
don't. Oh, Spy Game. Okay.
Do you know? Did you look up what the name is of the kid that plays Andy? Because there's not a more British name I've ever seen in my life. It doesn't even make sense.
Macintosh Muggleton.
Macintosh Muggleton.
Yeah, man.
That is a name.
I would just go by like, oh, dude, if I was a rapper with that name, I'd go by Mac Muggy.
Okay, well, yeah, I don't think you would do well.
Yo, it's Mac Muggy.
Mac Mug might work.
Mac Mug coming at you from the area code of some British place.
Tashi.
I didn't know Isle of Dog was like a real place. I thought it was like a Wes Anderson thing.
An invention. He just came up with it. Yeah. So this movie, what I liked about this movie is they hit a lot of the same beats. There's a lot of like, what I love about that first movie is like traveling through London and no one's there. I think they did a little bit of a better job with that here because they probably could have more control with the budget they had.
Yep.
The score, which seems to have taken a lot from the first one, used a lot from that, which is good. But then just these these epic shots, the kind of frenetic nature that the movie provides, because this is like probably not maybe the first that did fast zombies, but like one of the very notable ones. And it's just like the feel of this movie. When I was watching this, I was like, this feels exactly like the first one, but just better cameras.
Okay. I can see that. And I wonder, it has this look to it though that a lot of these movies have back like in the early 2000s. I just bought the Shaun of the Dead 4K, and I was such in a zombie mood after watching this. I popped it in. First of all, I have to say, Shaun of the Dead 4K, amazing looking. It looks like a real movie. And so you have this like shaky cam, and it feels like, I think it is the shaky cam because it just feels like found footage, but not found footage, right?
Yeah.
It's like this very natural lighting. Like it just feels like a bunch of people with these expensive cameras running around and shooting from the hip. And it's cool, but I feel like all these movies, like I know Dawn of the Dead, which was made a couple years later, kind of look like this. Shaun of the Dead was made 3 years before that. And so all these movies, especially like zombie apocalypse movies, just kind of all look the same, felt the same, tonally and visually.
Yeah, I mean, one of the shots I really like from this is where they have it. It was on Imogen is when I noticed it. They have the shot that's just like on her face, really close up, but as they're moving, and it's like almost like the way that they're moving with the background. It's like it's not floating. It's kind of similar to like the Spike Lee shot, but it's just like it's very like different. Like it doesn't look almost real. So
it feels like the camera is somehow attached to the characters. Yeah, and we're like moving along with them. It feels like we're like it builds up that urgency.
Well, you know those cameras that people have where it's like no matter how much they move their arm, it's steady. Like they,
Steadicam. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I guess. But it feels like those are attached to them.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it does give that sense of like urgency, especially when you're being chased, which it happens a lot more in this one than 28 days later. I like the zombie chases in this one actually.
I do. No, I agree. It did. I kind of wish we didn't have time to do this, but I wish I could have gone back and watched the first one again in concert with this because I was a little bit of like catching up on. Wait, are these like these are smart zombies? Like I almost kind of forgot. You know what I mean? Like I know they're
Oh yeah,
fast, but
yeah.
it's like they also these ones can think because it's not
A,
really
a
as
little
it's
bit.
it's not really actually zombies, right? It's a rage virus that is very similar to zombies,
Dude, I forgot how fast they turn.
right? Yeah, so when the little boy at the end is like running away from his sister, I was like, dude, you'd already be done.
Yeah,
But
exactly. Also, it hinted greatly at like, oh, he's immune.
well, because of the different colored eyes.
With the, so, is that a coincidence? Like the different color eyes is a genetic mutation people have. It's called something, but is that like people with different color eyes are immune, or is that just a coincidence that they also have this that second genetic mutation?
I think it is be like that's his mother's son, so he is also likely to have the immunity that she does, and like look, they have the same eye difference, so the end they also would have
Is
this.
is Tammy not related to them by blood?
Yeah, but she doesn't have the eye thing, I don't think.
No, she doesn't. Okay.
But I don't know because it's sort of just hinting at it's going to happen to the brother, right? It's just like the movie foreshadowing.
Where do you know the Flynn, the black pilot, helicopter pilot from?
I mean, like tons of stuff, but I don't off the top of my head. I can't tell you. I could
Oh,
obviously look.
I know him from only one thing, and that's the TV show Lost.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I've obviously seen him in like a ton of stuff. It's just like nothing that's like specifically like, oh, it's that guy.
Yeah,
So
I saw him and I was like, oh, wait. Oh no, he was in the sequel to that. That's a straight to DVD sequel. Apparently, they made a sequel to 30 Days of Night.
he's in Zero Dark 30.
Matrix Reloaded.
Yeah, which I don't remember Matrix Reloaded all that much. So
TV shows.
I
Yeah.
don't think
Anyways,
I don't think we should keep doing this. So let's start from the top. Obviously, as you already said, a very iconic opening scene. They sort of establish like, oh, the kids are on a school trip. Which, by the way, I didn't notice this, but apparently the kid is wearing a Real Madrid shirt, so it lets you know that they were in Spain on a trip, and that's why they're safe.
didn't they mention something about Spain?
I don't
Later
remember.
on, they were like, "Oh, it's not the weather in Spain, but it'll do." Something like that. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know if you you don't seem confident.
No,
So then you see that they're in someone else's house and then the woman of the house shows up. Apparently, this is not only the same farmhouse from Children of Men where
I knew it looked like Children of Men.
it looked like after
Came out around the same time too.
after they said it I was like, okay, yeah, I guess, but I was like the way they shot it made it different to me. And then there's also it appears in the movie Never Let Me Go, which I don't think you have seen. So
No, no, actually. So when they're in this farmhouse and all the windows are boarded up, and then you get like a little peek of what the outside looks like. That's not what I thought the outside looks like. I didn't even know it was like daylight at the beginning of
right,
this movie.
yeah.
I think they did a really cool job being like, this could be anywhere, and it's in the least area that you expect it to be in.
Yeah, there's like no population density whatsoever, right? So they're like on the outskirts of, they're way outside of London.
Yeah,
So this kid knocks on the front door and he's like, my mom and dad are chasing me. He's freaked out. It's kind of funny. The dad is the one who decides to open the door and let him in. But then when the zombies all start coming in and like the Karen gets bit, the mom chases the kid upstairs. The dad beats off a few of them.
he does what?
Yeah. Yeah, he's like, I don't know, maybe this is the way to defeat this virus. Maybe that's why they have all this
Come
pent up
on, get it out
rage.
of here. Oh,
It's like it stops them at least momentarily. No, so he kills a few of them and then goes upstairs. And then the mom is like, "No, we have to find this kid." She sees him, runs over there, and then the zombies break in, and they are in between her and the exit and her husband, who is like in the bathroom where they're supposed to, I guess, be hiding. I don't know if
yeah.
that's the plan or if it's just the way it worked out. Like that's where they would go because the others go to the barn, which seems like the plan, right? Like you go to the barn, and then from there you can escape to the boat. Like it seems like they had this all worked out.
You go to the barn, you go up in the loft, you jump out the top window. What is it, Sinners?
So, does he make the right decision?
So, first off, I want to say we see how fast those zombies are, and that man, he would not have gotten away with it unless if it like for the boat, right?
Right.
Very suspicious that this little boy managed to outrun his parents turned zombies this long.
Do you think he's like a zombie familiar? Also,
Anyways,
yeah, the plot convenience of, oh yeah, he's willing to run away from his parents, but then as soon as he gets to this farmhouse, he's like, no, let me hide in the closet. I'm done running,
right? Exactly.
asshole.
You know what he should have done? He should have left the wife also and jumped the bed and gone into the bathroom with the guy. So did he do the right thing? I think without knowing the context, you could easily say no. But also knowing the fact that like, oh, he has children and you're not getting out of this alive, right? So you're like, all right, at least the children might have one parent instead of zero parents.
Yeah, I mean, the unluckiest part for him is the fact that she lived. Like, you
Right.
really needed her to die right then. So, the movie clearly is painting him as like, in the wrong for what he did. Like, that he is bad because he even later on, instead of when he sees his wife again, saying, hey, I was doing that because there was zero chance I could save you. How was I supposed to know you're immune? One of us needed to survive for the kids. I was already in the bathroom and like I could not have saved you. Instead, he's like, I'm sorry, I was weak, I was scared, meaning that he just didn't want to die. Which is, I guess, also like he did not want to die, but there is no way he could have saved his wife.
It is kind of crazy though that she's like pounding on the window and
For
he
a
doesn't
while.
even he doesn't even look back. He's
He
just
looks back.
does he?
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
bolts, dude. He bolts. I mean, if this was your wife and you looked back, would you have turned back around or would you have been like, bye, bitch?
I brought this up to Ashley today and I explained the whole situation. She's like, yeah, I get it. I was like, good. Yeah, I would leave you. Yeah. She was
Wow.
like, and then she wasn't very happy about that.
I mean,
But
these zombies are like, they're kind of smart, they're fast, and they're strong. Like, what are you
because
supposed
even
to
if
do?
he had fought them off, gotten
Right.
her into the bathroom, and then they jumped down, she's probably getting caught with the kid anyway.
The kid is just going to slow you down.
You throw the kid at the zombies, unfortunately.
Have you seen that movie? I don't know what movie it was. It's just a clip circulating. It's like this guy with this little kid being chased by the zombie, and he like throws the kid into the zombie, and it gives him a chance to get away.
Yeah, well, I mean, either both of you die or the kid dies, So then gets the boat. The other guy doesn't make it.
I didn't even see Jacob fall into the water.
He jumped and like sort of missed. It was a pretty big fuck
But
up on his
he
part.
was in the boat, wasn't he? Like he was already in the boat. Like Jacob was the guy first in the boat, and
No,
then
he wasn't first in the boat. He was unhooking the boat, and then Don jumped in the boat, and then when he tried to get in, he missed,
oh, that's what
and
happened.
he got grabbed.
I got it twisted.
So after this, we get the 5 weeks later, infected die from starvation. 11 weeks later, NATO and the Americans come in. 18 weeks infection free, and then 28 weeks later, and you see the snipers on the building. And then Rose Byrne appears too. She's like, I didn't know we were admitting children. And they talk about Isle of Dogs, and they're like, there's 15,000 residents, which also is like they let 15,000 people back in there only to just fucking murder them all.
Yeah. Yep.
And I mean the whole thing is so illogical that they're like, all right, in 28 weeks we've got this covered. We're going to let people back in when they haven't even cleared all the bodies, they haven't been through all the houses.
But that's like the restricted areas, right?
But why are you letting them anywhere near this? What's the point?
Because I think they overestimated their capability. Like, even the snipers were joking about this being like the easiest job, right?
Well, it was until that bitch lived.
Okay. So I want to talk about this. I thought, oh, tragic. Kids found their mom. She's alive. It's sad that the militaries have to go in there and pop her in the head, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, I'm gonna feel like a certain way about this. And then they didn't. And then they brought her into the quarantine zone. And I was like, you know what? I just rather than pop her in the head.
Like, why is the quarantine zone where they're bringing her in with access to everyone else
You got to keep it like in the
separate?
like
Got to
no,
keep
you
it
you
separated.
got to keep the flow in pay. You got to put the hospital next to the quarantine zone, next to the zombie holder, next to the civilians. You got to keep it all in one place. That's a smart thing to do.
I mean, this is like the pride came before the fall because, Rose Byrne says to Idris, why are we letting kids in? And he's like, what are you worried about? And she's like, I'm worried that it's going to come back. And he says, I'm not. He's not worried at all.
First of all, Idris Elba has such a small role in this. I'm surprised.
His role is asshole. His role is like make bad decisions, get people killed, then start killing people. That's
Well,
his role.
first of all, this isn't a very long movie, and no one is in it for a very long time. And it's interesting because you're almost just like, collect my paycheck, week of shooting, and let me be in this kind of cool fuck ass movie, you know?
And sound really cool as I do it, as he always does.
Not just Idris, but like also Jeremy Renner. I mean, he's not in it a bunch. He's a main character for sure, but it's such a short movie. He's not in it a bunch. Then he dies, and you're like, well, that's a cool paycheck, I guess.
No, he has a very good part. Like
Mm.
that is
I'm not saying he's a bad part, but I'm saying if he's in the beginning on the rooftop talking shit to his other sniper buddies, then he shows up in the pantry to get them all out and does that cool like, hey, you run over there and then I'll shoot him while he's shooting at you sort of thing. Gets to the helicopter, does the helicopter bit.
I don't know why are you gonna go through the entire fucking movie right now? But like,
No, my point is that because after that helicopter bit, you get to the car where he has to push the car and then he dies.
and
He's like
there's 10 minutes left in the movie after that.
20, but yes.
Okay. I don't get your point at all. You're like, why would anyone be in an hour and a half movie? Is that your point? Like, what is
No,
your
I'm
point?
saying it's I'm saying it seems cool. It seems like an easy gig.
I don't think it was.
No? I mean, the people who were in there from beginning to end was Imogen and Macintosh.
I mean, not really. They weren't even in it from the beginning because they missed the first like 15 minutes.
Yeah, but then their dad was dead after that. After 5 minutes after that 15 minutes, so you can't even say he was in it from beginning to end either.
But I'm not the one making a weird point. I don't really know what's going on. So
No, I'm just saying it just seemed like, I don't know, like a cool paycheck is what I mean.
I just think Jeremy Renner and Rose Byrne are probably they're probably the main characters of the movie. Like, you know what I mean? They're like the main. Obviously, they're the top two in billing for I think a lot of this. But
Sure.
you know, Imogen, even though she's in it quite a bit, doesn't say a lot. The kid says, I guess, a little bit more than that, but not really. And this is an action movie, but I think Renner has a huge part in this, as does Rose Byrne. Harold Perrineau, somewhat of a small part. So
Okay.
they make it into the quarantine area. Dad is waiting for them. And then the first thing they do when they get to this new apartment, they're like, well, why can't we go home? And like, yeah, we just can't. What the fuck happened to mom, dad? What happens? And he just sort of tells a version of it that somewhat true, somewhat a little, trying to just tell them what they need to hear.
If you leave out the details, is it a lie?
Yes, it's a live omission, but I don't really know that. I mean, yeah, is he really need to tell them, hey, yeah, so your mom, she made a dumb decision, and then I had to choose.
She went left when she was supposed to go right.
Yeah, if I had tried to save her, I would be dead too. Actually, what would have happened is he'd be dead, and then would the mom ever even been discovered? Where would the kids have gone? Where do they send those kids? Are they just become Spaniards? That
Um,
that's not a bad life. And then this never spreads. Never spreads.
I guess.
I'm
And
sure life will find a way, as Jeff Goldblum says, but
what was that? What was the mom doing though?
she was just holed up in her house looking at pictures of her kids in the hopes that she got found, I guess.
So she traveled. We also don't know how long, like how far the cottage was away from the inner city, but she just walked it
I guess so.
as a zombie. Like no other zombie bothered her.
Well, I guess she realized she was like, yeah, immune. I mean, really, they seem to be pretty good at staying away from the zombies, right? Because besides this little kid, they had survived.
I guess that's true. I Okay, so she gets infected. She doesn't die, but
Yeah.
she's like Rose Byrne says, like a carrier, right?
Yes.
And she still has the ability to pass it on through blood and saliva, as we see when her husband kisses her. So let me ask you this: did she also get the rest of the zombie powers? Can she run super fucking fast?
No.
Because that would have why not? Because that would have changed it, right? Because if she had to get from the cottage to the inner city and she could run fast, she'd get there in no time.
I mean, we don't see her run fast, and she's a carrier, so she doesn't have the powers. She just can give it to other people. That's what a carrier is.
Okay.
So after he talks to the kids about their mom, there's this small scene with Renner as a sniper, just like looking at the different apartments, like what's on TV. I actually really like that little bit. It's almost like just kind of a throwaway scene, but he sees the couple doing it. He sees the people watching TV or whatever. Then he scrolls in on the kids. I was like, oh, thank God he's not like, let me like zoom in on Imogen. He's like, all right, he treats them like kids, which is appropriate. So after that, the kids decide to immediately sneak into the restricted area, which is like, what can go wrong with that? When they found the mom, I was like, what the fuck? That is like absurd until the explanation, I think, is plausible.
Well, like that's their house. That was their old house.
No, that she is immune.
Oh,
Although
like alive. Yeah, but I was like the coincidence of it all happening, but like, oh, they mentioned wanting to go to their old house to their dad before, and he's like, no. So that makes sense on why they get there. So when I saw Imogen with the little boy, I thought, is that his mother? Like, it's a very young looking mother, but could be the mother, right? And so I looked her up and I was like, where have I seen her before? I just can't like place her. I look at her name and I was like, Imogen. I'm like, the musician? But that's Imogen Heap. That's a different person.
is that what you just did?
What? Get Imogen
That just
Imogen
told us.
Pooh and
What'd
Imogen
you
Heap
see?
mixed
Did you
up?
know
Yeah.
her? What did you know her from?
No, I didn't know her from anything.
Oh, that's weird. But you were like, oh, look, let me look at her photos more. Okay. So I think it actually makes sense that they would find the mom at that place. But the fact that she was that she was still alive, I found to be absurd. Like, I get that she's immune, so it makes a little bit of sense. But also, these rage virus people like tear people apart. They're not just like giving them a flesh wound to infect them. They're like some of these they eat like whole almost. So that was Oh, we skipped over a little bit the bike scene where she goes into the pizza place to get the keys, and then I love her riding the motorbike with the brother on the back through London. Like I thought that was some awesome shots.
No, it is awesome, and it's like reminds you of 28 Days Later, but more what like cutting edge.
And then the dad notices that they're gone when they're basically at their old house, which is kind of like, yeah, this guy's not a good father.
I don't know. It seemed like they left early before he woke up. Like it seemed pre-planned. I didn't really blame him for that. And the only reason the military knew exactly where they were is because Jeremy Renner spotted them.
I
I like
guess.
it's
Yeah.
like we got two stray dogs. And he's like, or no, we got two strays, and they're like dogs, puppies.
I like the foreshadowing of like the mom grabs the son and she's like showing a little bit of the signs of like aggression and craziness, and then it's like, well, she doesn't have it, but she just, she's kind of gone crazy. But it's no, she's a carrier.
Yeah, that and also did it make it clear that like the beginning of the movie was the beginning of the apocalypse, and then it was 28 weeks from that moment? Because that means that she was like basically starving herself for 28 weeks.
Well, I mean, she probably found food, but I mean, it was at some point in the first 28 days. Like, I guess we don't exactly know. So the military finds them, and then Robert Carlyle shows up, and we found your kids. He's like, oh, thank goodness, and your wife too. And he's like, oh fuck, and takes them to the kids, and they're like, you saw her die? You said you saw her die. Is very funny. Like how
But
pissed
here's
they
where all
got.
the mistakes happen, right? So Rose Byrne is like taking in her blood, and she's like, I want to see my children. And she's like, of course, of course. And she knows who she is, right? Like she knows she's the wife of this guy who has access to all this like stuff.
I mean, sort of.
She's like, oh, the kids must also be immune and doesn't go through any like security of that. Is that Idris's fault, I guess?
I don't know if they'd even made the like exactly made the connection yet. Like obviously they get the dad because they're like, oh, our dad, that's our dad, and they find him or whatever. But if Rose herself made that connection, if Idris was like, who's the dad, if they even thought to like, who, what I mean, like I don't know. It's
I guess it's just why bring her back? Why not be extra precautious and be like, hey, we should probably kill her. Although Idris says that, but they should have just done it before bringing
they
her
also
in the
thought
city.
they thought they had beaten the virus, and she wasn't showing any signs.
She has like the blood in her wide of the eyes.
Yeah, that's all the rest of them. That's all they got too, right? Just blood in the eye. Just a red iris, and they're like, "Yep, red
What?
eyeball."
For the
She wasn't
zombies?
trying to. Yeah, she wasn't trying to eat anybody. She wasn't showing any signs. The
I would have been
fucking.
suspicious as hell.
Okay, yeah. Oh, you would have been. Yeah, he's like, guys, I'm suspicious. Do you know why? Like the red in the eyeball. And then don't you hear that suspicious music whenever the camera pans on her? Like you guys should be suspicious.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
So then the husband goes in and kisses her. She purposely infected him, right?
It like some sort of revenge plot.
It's what it felt like because she kind of was like watching him as he was,
It
dying, and
did
then he.
it did feel like that, but why would he kiss her? Why would he do this? You think she told him I love you to get the kiss? Like it was a whole premeditated thing?
Kind of what it feels like, a little bit. So I mean,
Were you thinking like, oh, they're gonna kiss and she's gonna like bite his lips off or something?
I thought she was gonna bite. Yeah, I thought that's what it took. But then, yeah, that was, I guess, not necessary. Uh, and then I guess if she did plan on him getting infected, she is a really bad planner because I don't know if she saw her eyes getting fucking poked out like that.
Oh, I think she saw her eyes getting poked out.
Well, the very beginning of it.
So but he wasn't like wanting to eat her at first because I have to think that if she's a carrier, she's probably smells like other zombies. Like she doesn't come across as a food source. But it seems like
He just
he
wanted to
just
kill her. He
he
wanted to
destroyed
beat
her
the.
body like out of sheer anger.
Well, yeah, but he does the same thing to Rose Byrne, right? He doesn't eat her. He beats her with the fucking gun to death.
Yeah, that's true too.
which is crazy. That last little bit. It kind of felt like Wreck, which I think Wreck came before this. So it
Yeah.
kind of felt like a little bit of a riff on that. So then they hide all the people down in the bunker. He escapes. He goes down there and just starts fucking killing everyone, including Andy, who got moved down there. He's
Oh,
just
stupid, stupid. I the fact that the crowd just like separated him from his sister and Rose Byrne. I'm like, just get him. Like
yeah,
just get him.
yeah. There's no way. No, we can't. It's impossible. Yeah, the whole bit to set up the spreading of the virus is kind of nonsensical. And then
Also, it does not make any sense how Rose Byrne and Tammy like got into the supply closet, and then all of a sudden Andy is like, "Oh, there you are." I'm like, how in the hell do they all end up in the same place? It seemed like Rose Byrne and Tammy were trying to get the fuck out of Dodge, and
well,
they all end up in the same place.
I think the movie does a good job of like you kind of are not really you don't know the layout of the city, and then also it's hard to follow it because everything's sort of dark and everything, you know. So yes, I mean basically everyone starts escaping. They can't tell the zombies from the regular people, so very quickly Idris is like, "All right, we're killing everybody. We're killing the entire island." Like within 2 minutes, everyone has to die. Like we can't save anybody.
Do
And
you
then
think that's the right call?
after your fuck up, yeah. I don't even know what you possibly do. Now you could I don't think you just shoot random people that you see, but they're like, if you see someone that kind of looks like they're okay, maybe you can grab them. But yeah, I mean, you've kind of fucked this up to where you don't really have a choice.
I mean, also, yes, I agree with. If they're all running and you can't tell them apart, then shoot everyone, right?
Which the crazy, just you see limbs blown off and everything. So
But later on, when they're trying to escape the city and it's like the Jeremy Renner team of like 5 people, right? He has like a mirror and he puts like, the mirror out to try to see where the sniper is.
yeah,
Sniper shoots the mirror. The sniper cannot think that that's a zombie doing that, right? That's like an individual person and they know they're people for sure and they know how fast they turn. How can they not be like, oh, that's a person?
and also the person is using a mirror. It's like, oh, that guy's got some sort of situational awareness. Maybe that's one of ours. I do like the whole like, oh, he can't shoot very well. He missed his shot. So, you know, I'm going to send this guy out. The guy's like, fuck that, which I don't begrudge that guy at all.
Nope, I don't
And
blame
then
him.
then the little kid goes and then headshot. Then he sees Robert Carlyle. Obviously, I think that had to actually be Robert Carlyle. I don't think that was just a vision of this little kid.
You
So,
don't think so?
I just think that's like Carlyle is like a super smart version of these zombies, which I guess maybe they all are, but he's just exhibiting it because he really wants to kill his son. That's his
I don't get that either. Like, yeah, not just his son, but like both of his kids.
no, but he has the chance to kill the daughter. She's right there. He could have killed her. Instead, he kills Rose Byrne and then drops the gun and then goes
Also,
after the son.
what's weird is that when they're down in there and Rose Byrne looks around, and then later on, Imogen looks around, tries to find her brother. You see Carlisle lurking in the back, like walking slowly.
Yeah.
So it's not just like rage fast movements. It's like he's premeditating this.
Yes, exactly. So this then leads to the most awesome scene in the movie. They are escaping the firebombing, run under the river, run to this merry-go-round. Flynn gets there. He's like, I'm not letting these people on. The one dude, Hank, whatever his fucking name is, jumps on there. And Flynn is like, I got something for you. And then just takes the fucking blades to these guys. So
Before that,
awesome.
though, before that, did you think like a DayZ thing was gonna happen? Where
A what?
like not a DayZ, Z World War Z.
Oh.
You like a World War
when
Daisy
they jump on
is
it?
a zombie video game. Yeah, World War Z where they
Thought possibly.
jump on the guy and then they jump on each other and then they jump on the helicopter. Yeah.
I thought it was possible, which yeah, World War Z definitely like has a lot. Not that it gets from this, just a lot in common. So
Fast moving zombies.
that's pretty much it. Yeah, Brad Pitt's not in both. So
He could be in this new one. We don't know. I mean, we should talk about 28 years later. Do you think
well,
it's a missed opportunity that they decided to make it 23 years after the first movie, or should they have waited till 2030?
uh, but also like, why are we skipping 28 months? I mean, maybe that'll be a prequel. Maybe they'll go back. That seems
28
like
months doesn't have the same ring as days, weeks, and years.
what the fuck does that even mean?
It doesn't have the same.
Weeks does. That's
Yeah.
people talk all the time. Like, yeah, man. I guess yeah, we're gonna go to that concert
You know
28
what the
weeks from
you know
now.
what the prequel should be is the first 28 hours.
28 minutes.
That's one episode of a show.
Well, yeah, but it starts from 28 minutes, and then Anyway, so the blades is just fucking awesome, and then he's like, "I'm not." the the guy falls off and gets eaten. He says, "Fuck you, pussy." Oh shit. So
um
then,
I also he didn't get infected. Like all that blood from the blade zombies are getting all over him. And like I thought we were gonna see him like turn and then fall or something, but no.
well, he definitely did turn. Then Flynn is like, "Hey, I'll meet you at the fucking stadium. Do not bring those people. You got to lose them." So they hide in the car from the gas. These guys they don't see that Renner's in fatigues. They're just like, we're just gonna fucking flame this dude.
But who are these guys? What is the gas? How does the gas kill the zombies? Like I have so many questions about this gas thing.
I mean,
Like what are the logistics of this gas plus flamethrower guys?
well, I don't really care. I mean, the gas could be anything that's poisonous, right? Like it could be something that prevents you from breathing. These zombies need to breathe, right? Because they're still human. They just have a rage virus. Uh,
Guys.
so then they get in the car, they get it moving. I love the driving through London. There's a helicopter shooting at them. I guess there's multiple helicopters, which also to me raises a lot of questions about this Flynn guy. Like, who's in charge of him? Who's telling him what to do? Because he seems to just be on his own missions and like never runs out of gas. Like, where's he going to get that? And are people like, hey, what'd you do today? Like, who's been ordering you around?
There's that part where Renner is messing with Flynn and he like pretends he's a zombie. And I was like, "Oh, okay. And even when I was like, oh, it's a jump scare from Renner, I know it's gonna be it got me the second time. It for sure got me the second time. I was like, okay, it's over. He's walking away. He's like, you too, pal. I was like, oh fuck. It got me.
He does a good zombie too.
Yeah.
Zombie. So they have to drive into a tube station, and then they're just going down with no light except for the green light, from the night vision. Falling down.
Which is a great setup for like really fucking creepy footage.
Yeah. Well, I told you, it just reminds me of Wreck. And then you have Rose Byrne just getting her face caved in, but not really. But she gets killed, but it's like that thing should have done a lot more damage.
We see her and she looks fine, just dead. It doesn't
She
like
always looks fine.
you're not gonna ruin Rose Byrne's face. Although, you know what doesn't make sense is that he like kills Rose Byrne and then runs away.
From the daughter, yeah.
Yeah.
And then the daughter grabs the gun and then shoots the dad when he's trying to bite the son. And then he runs away from her because he's like, I'm infected. But it's like, bro, you'd be infected immediately. Like you're fine.
I kind of saw this play out this way. I didn't expect Rose Byrne to die, actually. But I was like, the son's gonna get bit. We're also gonna find out he's immune, and it's gonna be Imogen and Andy at the end of this movie. And I thought Rose Byrne was gonna be there too.
But instead, Flynn infects the entire rest of the world by taking this kid across the channel to
He
France.
doesn't even check.
Well, he doesn't know, right? I mean, you
I
need
guess you're
someone
right.
smart like Rose Byrne. So I actually this movie was supposed to end with them walking into the stadium and them seeing the helicopter. And it's like, all right, we've made it to freedom. And then at the last minute, the director was like, I want to add this France scene, like where the
Yeah,
zombies.
yeah, yeah.
I think it is an amazing, cool couple of shots, them running to the Eiffel Tower.
Oh, it's awesome.
But I also think it would have been better if you showed a little bit of like restraint and ended it the way it initially, like a little bit more open ended.
Hmm.
I don't. To me, it's like I don't know. I almost would have preferred a just a all right. Is the world fucked or is the world not? You know what I mean? Like I guess it
I
doesn't
see
matter.
what you're saying,
I guess
but
you like you have to know it is because like at this point they've obviously shown that they want to do sequels with this, so you know it's like the zombies are not going to be taken out in the second movie. Although it took years and years to make this next one, but well, 18 years after 2007. So, but I just think it's I don't know. To me, it's I wish they had kind of not, but I do love the last shot. I think it's amazing.
should have called it 18 years later.
No,
And you know, you have the Paris shot, but you have to think. England is an island.
that's correct. Yes, you're right about that.
So how did they get from England to France?
The kid.
The kid. Well, we also don't know where Flynn's taking the kid.
Yeah, we do.
We do.
Yeah, he said take him across the channel, the English Channel. The English Channel leads to France.
Oh,
You have to know
I
a
thought
little
that
bit
was a
of like
different channel.
basic. You got to know a little basic geography to get
I
to
mean, the
get it.
channel doesn't seem like a large waterway. I was like, oh, maybe just take him to like Ireland or something.
Okay, yeah, yeah, the water between England and France is not that big. You've been in France.
No, I know, and I've been to England, and I've traveled the underground railroad that goes from France to England. It seemed larger.
Harriet Tubman was running that. I think it's called a channel.
A channel? Yeah.
Yeah. So Danny Boyle could not direct this because he was committed to Sunshine. I'm happy with that decision. I
Happy
fucking
we
love
got
Sunshine.
sunshine.
I love Sunshine.
Speaking of that, someone was like, "Oh, the Edgar Wright was supposed to direct Ant-Man, right?"
Yeah, you
But
bring that up quite a bit.
he got what?
You bring that up quite a bit.
I was just saying he got called off of directing it because they didn't agree with his artistic direction, and he ended up making Last Night in Soho. And I was like, I'm so glad he did.
You know that Danny Boyle was going to direct the either the I think the second to last Daniel Craig James Bond, but he wanted to kill off James Bond. They wouldn't let him. And then spoiler alert, they fucking kill him off in the final movie in a fucking just shitty way. Still hate it.
I thought it was cool.
No, fuck you. Robert Carlyle turned down the role that Christopher Eccleston took in 28 Days Later, like the military leader at the house.
Oh,
Robert
and got
Carlyle was offered
much
that part.
better role, huh?
And then finally, all of the night scenes in this movie were actually shot as day for night.
Oh, you know what? That makes so much sense now that I'm thinking about it. And usually I'm really good at spotting day for night, but okay, that makes so much sense. 'Cause that's why everything is so fucking clear to see.
Yeah, and it was just easier with like having the lights, because you can't guarantee the lights aren't going to be on in
That
people's
was another
houses.
thing I didn't agree with the movie. They were like, "Hey, turn off all the power and put on the emergency lights," which are these like big spotlights, which I agree you should have, but why can't you also just keep all the other lights on too?
I've made a lot of bad decisions by Idris Elba in this, but I still think it's a very solid movie. I was looking at this director. I think this is I don't. This is like I think the best thing he's done, and I think it's a worthy sequel to the first one. I'm excited, optimistically hopeful for the third one. It looks quite a bit like the what's the Quiet Place Part 2, like the just like the post-apocalyptic part of it, but then like instead of the aliens that hear really well, it's zombies. It's kind of what it looks like.
I feel like it's gonna give a. Did you end up seeing Civil War?
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be reminiscent of Civil War a little bit. I've never seen it, but I feel like it.
You haven't seen either, but okay. Well, thanks for listening to another episode of I Finally Watched. This is David.
And this is Alon, and we finally watched 28 weeks later.